With TSD Talks.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Pillar of Garbage PoGcast with TSD Talks. That's Pog with a G.
Pog with a G. We gotta get a lot of mileage out of the pun because we have to specify that it's our Pillar of Garbage podcast. Because while I was looking for the trailer on on Apple Music, because I use Apple's podcast because I'm that kind of person. But there's apparently like a million other podcasts that are called PoGcasts. We're not as clever as we thought.
That's crazy. Why? It's such an original thought.
Yeah, it's taking one of the most popular like internet slang words of the past 5 years and then combining it with a sound word that kind of sounds like it. It's a really original idea.
Well, I for one am flabbergasted. All right, everyone, if you're hearing this, welcome to the inaugural episode. It's going to be a little bit going to be some rough edges.
Yeah,
for instance. Freeform. Yeah, so often I think we'll have guests, probably other creators, probably smaller ones, and we'll probably have a better idea of what segments we're going to kind of lean on in the future. And possibly those segments will have musical stingers. They don't yet, because we haven't made them. I
mean, they might. Depends on how long. Depends on when this one comes out.
This is true.
But, I mean, we're probably going to release it around the time that you reach 100K.
That's the idea.
Which
and
is very soon.
If the current trend continues, we won't have time to make any little stingers. So, the idea we had for this was toward the start of each episode, I'd give you a little pogservation. That's like observation, but like pog, in case anyone listening at home didn't catch that. So another funny little joke from us.
We're really testing the boundaries of puns and comedy. That's what podcasts are for, really, or podcasts, I guess.
Yeah, in this case, podcasts, it would be with a G.
Yeah,
the G in that stands for.
In case you didn't know,
genuinely hilarious.
Yeah, I guess this is kind of like 100K, like. Actually, first let's go with your pogservation before we get into that. What have you got for us? Pillar of Garbage.
Today's pogservation. I think YouTube is intentionally anti-creator.
Oh, do you?
Got any thoughts just off the bat there?
It's a very
soundbite.
Very hot take that I don't think anyone who's ever used YouTube.
No one else is brave enough to say that. I think they're all in the pocket of big Google.
Yeah, but I think I know what you're talking about, because like even if they're not like literally intentionally anti-creator, their practices are so anti-creator that it's kind of amazing. It's like
so where I'm going with this, really, is I put out a video on Smiling Friends recently, and it got demonetized. And basically, for those of you listening at home that aren't big shot YouTube creators like me and TSD, the way it works is you'll upload a video, and you can wait a few hours, and YouTube's automatic check system will run. And if any copyrighted material is detected, then you'll get an alert, and you can edit it out, or you can dispute it then and there. But basically, the way most people do it is they'll upload a video, they won't publish it right away, and if it comes back as saying, that, hey, there's stuff in there that shouldn't be, they'll take it back down, they'll re-edit it. They'll re-edit it until that doesn't happen, because...
Or they can use YouTube's editing, tools, which are amazing, by the way. They're very good. Definitely not buggy at all.
In case there's any non-creators watching this. The G in podcast stands for sarcasm.
That's true. It stands for sarcasm, genuinely hilarious. We're just racking
a whole range of things, really.
Yeah, it's whatever you want.
Yeah, this video in particular, it didn't get claimed at that point, because when you've made a few videos, you learn that any video clip with sound that's over, say, 9 seconds is going to be a no-go. Some studios, like Universal, is pretty bad. if it's over sort of 6-7 seconds and it has sound, then you might get claimed for that. And songs over 5 seconds is always risky. So basically, once you've made a few videos, right, you kind of you learn to edit around these things, and so that's what I've done here. All was fine. Put it out. It did kind of okay-ish. It was it got up to 17K views in the first 3 days.
So it's fairly solid, not mind blowing or anything.
Decent start. Yeah.
I mean, if my video of mine got 17K, that'd be big deal. But
yeah,
I'm not a big shot YouTube guy.
Yes, lonely at the top here at the 100K mountain. But
which you are on as of right now.
Well, as of release, yes.
Yeah.
But as of filming, I'm currently setting I think 99,944. So
no.
If any of you have time machines.
Podcast episodes exist and are recorded at the time that they're released, right? That's what it means.
I'm with you.
It's because whatever time it is when you're listening to this is what time it is for us right now. We're not recording this, right?
You're imagining it.
Yeah,
it isn't really happening.
It's time to wake up.
So, last week, Monday or maybe Tuesday, I can't remember. Sitting there, videos at 17K. Then, within an hour, 2 interesting things happen, right? Thing number 1 is the video gets claimed. Basically, what this means is, so point 1, this is a manual claim because it hasn't been picked up by those automatic checks we talked about a minute ago. So some guy somewhere has seen this and has gone through the YouTube backend to try and claim it. Which in itself is pretty sad because, I don't know, I don't think it's anyone's job to Google or YouTube things which use clips from something our studio owns the rights to. So, I don't know. I feel like someone's seen it and just reported it. Maybe someone who works for that company, a funny little act of corporate zealotry. I don't know. And I'll tell you why I think this. Because within the same hour, views start shooting up. I think what happened is YouTube, in its inscrutable wisdom, decided, okay, today this video is going big. And one of the first people to get that new kind of push of more recommendations was someone linked to Turner, which is the company that owns Adult Swim, Smiling Friends, whatever.
Which is in turn owned by Warner Brothers.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
it gets claimed. I dispute the claim, but we'll take another detail because most people don't know how the claims process works.
Yeah, this is the part that I definitely agree is very anti-creator. How the claims process works. I'll let you explain it, but it's bad.
So basically, you got a video, and if it gets claimed, then you can either accept that claim, and depending on who's filed it, and depending on, I guess, how cruel they're feeling, if someone files a copyright claim on your stuff, they can either make it so no one can see it anymore. It's just blocked, fully blocked. They can make it so the video can no longer earn money, or they can make it so it can earn money, but the money goes to them. Right? Those are, I think, the main options.
If they're feeling really generous, they can, if it's public domain or something, or they put it as royalty free, they can still claim it, but then also be but you know what? Doesn't matter.
That would be nice.
Or do revenue sharing or something like that. But that almost never happens.
Yeah, if you dispute it, then the video, if it was blocked on visibility, it goes public again until I think 2 days afterwards, it goes public again until the claim is settled. And the copyright holder has a month to respond, but they often tend to do it faster. And they can either uphold the claim or they can release it. And when you dispute it, you have to write a mini essay, 2,000 characters, explaining your rationale. You have to check all these boxes, blah blah blah, fair use, because it is fair use, right? There's a copyright doctrine called fair use, which is basically the reason why if you're reading a textbook that quotes fucking Jonathan Swift or I don't know, Edgar Allan Poe to explain what alliteration is, actually those are bad examples.
Because those are public domain. But if you choose to use something modern from say modern
say it's
works
a
of
film
literature.
textbook,
Yeah.
and it's a frame from The Rise of Skywalker, chapter "Don't do it like this," and the picture is The Rise of Skywalker. The reason that can be in there is because the fair use. One of the things that fair use means is if you're kind of
Star Wars reference
if it's
checked
reviewing
off.
or if it's there we go. That'll make some people happy and some people angry. Let's get the engagement.
Yeah.
If it's for the purpose of criticism or review or blah blah blah, you're allowed little kind of contextualizing snippets, because otherwise, you couldn't do reviews, you couldn't do criticism, because it'd just be like, oh, and this part of the film's pretty great if you've seen it. I can't talk about what it is, I can't quote it or anything, but hey, trust me.
And fair use extends.
That isn't how it's worked.
Fair use also isn't just reviews or criticism. It extends to stuff like parody and art pieces and stuff.
It's a wide
essentially it's just the idea of you can use other people's art, copyrighted or copyright material in your own thing, as long as it's sufficiently transformative, as long as you're not just
if you've kind of turned it into your own thing. Say if this Smiling Friends video had been an hour-long discussion of, say, 2 or 3 episodes, which played most of the episodes, and I was kind of just describing what happened or something, then, okay, maybe that wouldn't be fair use, because you could kind of use that video as a substitute for the original Smiling Friends
it's
thing.
I think the legal thing is terminology is replacing the market for it.
Yeah. So if and that's one of the reasons people don't like, myself included, don't like React content that's just someone sits in front of something and pauses, says a sentence, carries on, because once you've seen that, you don't need to go and see the video. You're not gonna go and see the video.
But it's
the market for the original video.
But you get it. You bring in. What about the exposure? What about the exposure?
The fat bump. What about the fat bump?
Yeah, fat bump of 2 views from the 100,000 view stream.
Real. All right, to pull us out of this rabbit hole. If you're the copyright holder, you can uphold the you can say, all right, yeah, it is fair use, and it gets released, and they get to show their video and monetize it, blah blah blah. Everyone's happy. The end. But the other option is they can just uphold it. They don't have to give you a reason for this. They can just say, "Nah, I disagree."
Right.
And then it comes back to you, the creator, and your options then are, tough shit, deal with it, or you can appeal that, and basically it's the same process again.
Yeah, but this time with higher stakes.
They can look at that and they can, when we'll get to that. They can look at that and they can say, all right, yeah, okay, I guess that's fair, have at it. Or they can say, nuh-uh, again. And at that point, if you appeal it and they say nuh-uh, your account is crippled. And I didn't know this until last week.
You were talking about this in the Discord server. There's a Pillar Guard Discord server. But you were talking about trying to get possibly getting a strike if you were to appeal it. And the thing about they don't tell you about a strike is because if you get a strike, first of all, there's 2 separate systems for strikes. There's the community guideline strikes and copyright strikes. This is copyright because they're different rules. But essentially, the idea is if you get 3 strikes, then your channel gets deleted permanently, and then you're just banned from YouTube as well. If you try to make another account, then that's considered ban evading, and you get canned again.
And even before that, if you just have a copyright strike, it's something crazy, you can't upload videos for a week, or you can't edit them, and your monetization is restricted and all this. I thought, because it came back and they'd said no the first time, and I was thinking, well, do I appeal this? And we'll get to why later.
Right.
But in my head, it was the pros of appealing it would be, I get to monetize this. The cons would be maybe I get a copyright strike, and in my head, the only thing that meant was that I couldn't get the 100k play button, the plaque, which I desperately want.
The shiny, the shiny thing on the wall.
Yeah, the shiny thing, my precious, right? So this was a dilemma, and then you come in here and you bust my world up, and you tell me actually, if you get this strike, basically it's fucking game over for a few months.
Yeah.
Because, and here's why this is a problem, right? Here's the next, corner of the hairpin bend rabbit hole we're going down. This video, the Smiling Friends video, was doing really well. Since they claimed it, it started doing
annoyingly
really
well.
Annoyingly well.
It's it would have been great if it wasn't demonetized.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's still great in a way because A, it's getting me subscribers, and B, more importantly, people are seeing it. Like the reason, there's two reasons which often exist at cross purposes with the channel the size of mine. I'm making videos. One, so people can see them, and so people can see my work, and I can kind of share my thoughts and stuff, and all that kind of side of things. And two, I need to earn enough that I can keep doing one, right?
Yeah.
Because most of my money comes from AdSense, and that's not ideal.
No, it really
precisely
isn't,
because of
it's,
stuff like
and
this.
And even without stuff like this, like AdSense is just so
even
unreliable.
Without stuff like this, the algorithm is nonsense. Like you don't know what's going to do well, and you don't know what isn't. So yeah, like my Patreon, I'm really grateful to all my Patreon supporters. Like, I'm really impressed, and like I'm shocked that so many people like my stuff enough to help me try and do it. I think I've got like 60 something paying members at the moment, plus my YouTube members, of course.
Every time
I think maybe 70.
Every time I see the video, one of your videos, like the list always gets longer, and I'm just like, man, so many people. That's cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. Thank you all. If any of you are listening, thank you so much. Like, if it wasn't for you guys, I probably would have thrown the towel in, because it's A, videos get demonetized randomly. B, videos just flop randomly, even if the stats are good. But as it stands at the moment, I'm getting maybe like, I think 220-ish pounds a month from these supporters, and that's great, and that's filled a lot of gaps for me in the past. But like, that's not even half of my rent. Do you know what I mean? Like
it's like
I need the YouTube ad money as well, and sponsors when I can get them. That's a whole other thing. We'll talk about sponsors in another episode, because that's a whole other hellish system of God. But yeah,
it was
long story short, the YouTube money is good. We need it. And A, if a video gets demonetized in the at any point, that's a blow. But B, before this month, it had been like 5-6 months since I had a video cross 100k views.
Yeah.
And like, that's kind of bad if you're relying on AdSense. And this one is currently sitting at like 130, I think.
And I think the nice thing about it though is that this would sting a lot more if the Invincible video didn't do so well, probably.
Yeah. So like, it's not like, it's not a disaster. I'm not running out of money this month. Like, I'll probably make enough this month because the Invincible video did really well also. If it wasn't for that, I would be smashing my head into the wall, because I've fudged the numbers a bit. I don't know exactly what it'll be, because I can't see how much money I've
not made
exactly. Yeah, but lowball estimate is like 300-400 quid on this Smiling Friends video I haven't seen for just arbitrary reasons. And basically, my kind of business model is I'll have a bunch of bad months in a row, and then I'll just keep the little meme of the guy digging the hole
through the diamonds.
There's the diamonds. Yeah.
You're that guy.
So it's like that, and then every few months I hit the diamonds, and I make more than I need, and that kind of retroactively flattens it out to the point that on average I'm kind of just getting by.
And a good trick for telling when he's starting to get a little bit low on money is whenever he releases a video about Critical Drinker.
Yeah. Well, no, if that was the case, we would have had a few more of those. But yeah, so April's going to be okay for me. But like, it would have been, if this didn't happen, like April would have been like the month that like retroactively made January and December okay.
Yeah.
And now that can't happen because some fucking bozo at Turner has decided that he's going to click a button, because to bring it back to the claim process. When you get to this second stage, and if you appeal it and you get a copyright strike, your channel's like crippled. That's probably not the best. Kneecapped. Is that better? I don't know. Your channel is limited.
It's in a bad place.
Your channel is limited.
Yeah,
it's in a bad place.
The foot is broken.
The foot is broken. And at this point, your only option is to accept that, or in theory, you sue the copyright holder.
Right.
But
who's actually
in theory,
gonna do that, right?
Exactly, no one. No, I don't know. I don't know. Has anyone ever done that? Like,
I mean, there was actually one case of copyright have copyright with YouTube, but it was the claimant suing the creator. So it was no one's like.
Is that the H3 thing?
Yeah, I had to write. I took media law in college, so I had to write an essay about an example of copyright infringement, and I chose that course. It was actually an essay that was a double. It was about that case, and it was also about the I Hate Everything versus Cool Cat one.
Yeah.
But essentially, the guy, it was like a rare case of the YouTube copyright system actually not being actually doing a good job of protecting its creators, because the guy filed a claim against YouTube. YouTube was like, no, that's fair use. And then the guy took H3 to court because he's like, actually, no, I've decided this isn't fair use. And then the court was like, yes, it is. So it was pretty cut and dry.
And if you take that as the precedent, I guess I haven't seen the video in question, but I know what H3's content is now, and I know what it has been in the past.
Yeah.
Of the videos of mine that have been claimed over the years, all of them are more transformative than H3 stuff tends to be.
Yeah.
So
it's not to say that H3 stuff
theory,
isn't transformative. It's just
no.
It's more transformative what you do.
So it's I get to the point where I could get a copyright claim, and if money wasn't a factor, if better lawyers weren't a factor, on paper, I probably have a case for fair use. I probably could, sue whichever giant studio and win back my 400 quid of AdSense. Actually, no, we'll get to that. Hold on, we'll get to that because I wouldn't have got it anyway. But obviously, dude, I'm a guy. For me, coffee, going out and buying a coffee, that's a treat. That's a little treat. How am I going to I couldn't even afford the Futurama bird lawyer.
Yeah.
Have you seen Futurama? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I haven't seen that episode. I've only seen the first season, I think.
So there's this Kentucky Fried Chicken lawyer, because it's the future. So there's a chicken who's a lawyer, and he's a bad lawyer. I couldn't get that guy. So all of the cards are stacked against you. You cannot if the studio decides, we're just going to uphold this copyright, despite the fact that we're in the wrong, you cannot do anything.
Yeah,
and here's the kicker. I wouldn't even if I was some sort of millionaire kind of guy. Even if I was a fancy law student, I knew all the stuff inside out. I went into the courtroom and I slammed the book down on him, and I got the copyright strike resolved or whatever. This wasn't one of those claims where so the way it works is if a copyright holder claims the video and they decide they want it to stay monetized, but they need to get the money. If you dispute that, then the money that's being earned from the video in the meantime gets...
Is escrow.
Is it called escrow, where they kind of hold it? Yeah.
And then this wasn't one of those. Just
I've never heard anyone say escrow in Britain. Never. Just see it in American TV shows.
I've not heard it said in America either. So I think it's just a made-up YouTube word.
Maybe it's a neutral word. But yeah, this wasn't one of those. So even if I was Mr. fucking rich kid lawyer pants, there is no way in which I would see a penny from this until I'd finished suing Turner, and then
got a settlement from them.
Yeah, and then got back on YouTube Studio, waited for it to go through on their end, and then remonetized the video. And that would take however many months, right?
Right.
And obviously at that point the video would have stopped getting pushed. I think it's already slowing down.
Yeah.
So
It's just the thing that really is a kicker in this system is that there's no YouTube representative in the. It's just an exchange between the copyright holder and the claimant, because I know why they do that. It's so that if it does go to court, YouTube doesn't get implicated in being like, oh, I helped. If it's wrong, then I helped get. I'm liable.
So the system clearly, the system clearly favors the studios, and that is the reason for it, right? Mm-hmm. It's because if the system didn't favor them, a lot of copyright infringement happens on YouTube that isn't fair use. It's just people uploading episodes and stuff.
Right.
And if the system didn't favor the studios, then they would, they'd get a little bit, less happy with YouTube, and they could then kind of bring that to bear on YouTube in a way that would hurt the platform more. Yeah. So. Sure, I understand why it favors the studios rather than the creators, but that isn't to say that it has to be
so
favor
one-sided.
them to the point of just being a brick wall. Yeah.
It's
And here's the PoGcavation. I know I've ranted for a bit. I'm probably gonna stay ranting because this is really this has really chapped my ass.
it's a very tough observation. Yeah.
Yeah, but here's why I'm saying YouTube is intentionally anti-creator, because I don't think this was ever proven. I've seen people talk about it. People have done like gig work for like Uber or Lyft or whatever. The idea, and again, I don't know if this has been proven or not, but there's the idea that when you're kind of just starting out doing it as a side hustle, like, you know, driving Uber or delivering stuff or Deliveroo, what have you, these algorithms, they're kind of incentivized to give you relatively higher pay for a job. And then you see yourself getting a nice little pay packet whenever you do a few of these jobs, and you think, wow, okay, well, if this is how much it pays, you know, I'm going to pack in my main thing. I'm not going to be a minimum wage shop assistant anymore. I'm just going to do this the whole time. And there's the idea that when that happens, when the algorithm detects that someone is switching to doing one of these gig work things full time, it will then kind of lower the amount they get paid. So when they're at a point where they've committed to doing this and they don't have a ton of other options, they have to get paid through this, they have to make enough money through doing whatever sort of gig thing it is. It's like the drip feed kind of, it slows to a trickle, and they get paid less for each thing, which obviously makes them more desperate and more likely to accept all of the new jobs that are coming in. So
you're saying that like YouTube's algorithm might work in a similar way, you think?
I'm saying that there are reasons that things like the copyright claim process and just the unknowability of various other aspects of the YouTube algorithm stuff, there are reasons that aren't this, why they work this way. But I think that it is in YouTube's interest to make it not reliable to be a full-time creator who gets all their money solely from YouTube. It is in their interests to create a kind of a cloud of people who are trying to do that but can never be sure they're going to get enough, can never be sure their videos are going to get pushed even when they have good stats, can never be sure they won't just get demonetized in a way they can do nothing against. Because if you have people in that situation, rather than in a situation where they're able to kind of predict that they're going to earn money from this video, they're gonna, maybe they have a better idea of how much they're gonna get. Maybe they just know for sure that it's not gonna get demonetized arbitrarily. If you have people in that situation, then they're less desperate. They're gonna make less videos, and more videos for YouTube means they have more options to choose from to show each viewer, right?
Yeah,
and the more options
it's all about like maximizing the amount of content that gets made.
I think it's pretty uncontroversial to say that keeping the system in a way that incentivizes people to make more stuff because they're not going to know if they're going to be okay if they make less stuff, that is in YouTube's interest, right? That's surely that's not a controversial statement.
I mean, YouTube has like been run at a loss for I think since Google bought it, like if not before. So they're absolutely incentivized to. Oh my God! There's like a really loud plane going by.
That's Google. They've heard us talking. They're gonna drop some bombs on your house.
Oh God, no! They've heard the podcast listening through the Google Chrome. Oh God, I have Google Chrome open. That's why.
We're gonna get cancelled, and this is what being cancelled means. Like YouTube drops a bunch of bombs on your house. That's why you never see Lindsay Ellis videos.
Yeah, she actually got like carpet bombed. That's what happened to her.
Yeah.
Nebula is not a thing that actually exists, according.
Nebula is a site. I would like to clarify that that's a joke in case anyone influential is listening.
Yeah.
I'm just goofing around. Yeah.
YouTube Nebula is actually very cool, I think. Like they avoid a lot of these issues.
Yeah. I've had a sub there for a year.
Yeah. I haven't just because I have like no money, but that's just me. I have like a list of things I'm gonna gonna sub to. Mostly people's Patreons, but
No, I do as well. Yeah, I want to get on the Boonta Vista Patreon. Have you ever listened to Boonta Vista?
I haven't.
We're
no.
doing a podcast now. That is my favorite podcast. It's called the slogan is "Small News for Small Minds." It's basically it's like a bunch of Australians talking through the least kind of significant news of the day.
Australians are just really good at making podcasts.
I like Australians. I don't know how they do it, man.
Like I more recently, my my favorite podcast I've been listening to is you know them, The Weekly Planet. I think they follow you on they follow you on Twitter, I think, actually.
Yeah, James does at least. I mean, I've never spoken to him, but yeah.
But
when I got that notification, a big grin lit up my face.
I remember when you shared that. Yeah, but it's a good podcast and may or may not be part of the inspiration for this one. But like I don't know. It's just they got a good banter. Also, the accent's nice to listen to.
I honestly think you could I don't know, you could get an Australian to read the dictionary and I'd be smiling, man. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously I've not had to deal with something like quite to the same level in terms of the copyright thing system, but it's the way it's worked has always bothered me because it's so like anti-creator and it's so pro like there's a lot of people saying like, oh, I miss like the old YouTube when they cared about creators. I don't think that ever was really the case. No. Just because by nature of being like a giant corporation.
Yeah.
But it's like there's so much stuff that YouTube has done recently that it's just like it's so blatant that they're catering directly to like advertisers rather than the creators.
Should we talk about like the UI?
Have you got that? I didn't actually get that update. I didn't get that
You're
update.
You're a lucky man.
I know. Part of me is wondering if YouTube is actually rolling it back because it was so unpopular.
Well, the removing of the dislike counter was unpopular too, wasn't it? But I think that's still there. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's still there. I have a Chrome extension.
Everyone has that. I don't have that extension. But like everyone who's hearing this, be aware that extension is not very reliable. Like the way it works is it takes the amount of people who have disliked the video who have that extension and then it approximates from there.
And yeah, it's very like a rough estimate.
Like I've got into comment section spats with people who are like being like, haha, this video sucks. See, 49% of people are disliking it. And I'm just like, that isn't true. I don't know why you think that. Look on Twitter. I will post you a screenshot of this studio. And they're just like, you're photoshopping it. I have access
to the actual access. That's my favorite thing is like whenever people ask if you're photoshopping something on like when you just take a screenshot, it's like, why would I do that? You know?
Yep.
Like it's at the same point. It's like, sure, but you can Photoshop anything.
Yeah,
why
these days you can get an AI video of the bloody princess of
AI too.
Wales. That's a little British reference for the. Do you think any British people are going to listen to this? Maybe.
I mean, some people, I'd imagine. Like, I imagine you have some British people in your audience. At least, maybe. I think
it's like 10%.
Ein will listen. Ein's British.
Ein's British. What's up, Ein? Pymtron videos coming any day now.
Pymtron video, Pymtron. That's an inside joke for the Pillar of Garbage community. Heads.
You get it if you're on the Discord.
Yeah, you definitely get it on the Discord. Like if you've been there for any amount of time, you'll understand it.
But I mean, circling back to the YouTube UI, it's another kind of straightforward instance of the kind of quantity being the only factor that matters for YouTube. Like, I don't like this new.
Just promoting it's just promoting like the shorts and content stuff, trying to make it so that your muscle memory to go check the comments is now taking you to like the recommended page.
Yeah. Like in case anyone hasn't got it, the entire below the video player is just that's where the recommended is now, and the comments are like squirreled away to the side. They kind of replace the description, and I don't like that either because I guess kind of following on from the discussions that have been had over the past few months about like best YouTube practices, resources and stuff. Like, I was always comfortable doing all my citations and stuff in the description because like you can't miss the description. It's below the video. It's like the paratext. It's like the bibliography section of a book. You know.
Yeah.
It's
and
there.
it can be edited pretty easily, like in a way that you can't really edit the video as much.
But now the description isn't there anymore. So like part of me is thinking going forward, do I need to make more of an effort to cite stuff in the video itself? Because this paratext, this kind of essential extra bit of the video that was always kind of part and parcel with it is now hidden, right? So like all of my old videos that have relied more on the description for citations and stuff, those all are like maybe less good now. I don't know, and that's annoying. I think
that it's going to be a similar thing where a lot of people will install like someone will make a browser extension that fixes it, and it'll be a lot easier to do that than to do the dislike thing because that's relying on a metric that you can't see. But I mean, actually, there is already an extension that just changes your YouTube UI to look like whatever era you want. Like,
oh, that's good.
You can like change it to that. You can change it to like 2008 YouTube or something like that. If you want to really go back. I don't think
stars.
The 5 stars.
Oh, I missed the stars.
The stars were before my time, actually.
You never saw the stars?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them. Like, I've seen screenshots of them, but like.
Dude, I was an early YouTube, I was an early YouTube kid. Yeah. The highlight of my childhood, or one of the highlights of my childhood, was Smosh replied to me one time.
Oh, that must have been.
I went to the playground. I told my friends, and they were as hyped as I was. That was how big a deal it was back in the day. Like
it's back when they were like an enormous channel. They had almost 100,000 subscribers. That was so big.
I'm not embarrassed to say that if someone came up to me and started playing, I guess one of any of the Smosh songs from like 2007 to like 2014, I would probably be able to sing it word for word. That's an embarrassing fact that you've all just learned about me.
Well,
You're welcome. This is the PoGcast. Sure.
Did you see that? Did you see that? That they like bought Smosh back, like that they own it again now. Ian and Anthony.
Well, I mean, I hadn't heard that, but like Anthony's gone now, isn't he? Is it just like Ian and a bunch of kind of other guys they got afterwards? I thought he was doing his own thing.
It was for a little bit, but now Anthony's back. He's doing it again.
Is he?
But he's also doing his own thing at the same time. So he's like,
yeah, I've seen his like interview series. That's good.
Yeah, and he like tried to do his own, and he's also doing his own version of Jubilee, kind of like Jubilee's like discussions thing. But it seems like he's trying to make it so that it's not just like the engagement farming hate stuff that Jubilee is doing, where it's just like where they do pretty much just do like small child debates child murderer, who has a point?
Who is right?
I think there's some valid points being made on both sides.
I think so.
But
I think that kind of brings us to the end of the Pogservation.
Yeah, really
should
light.
We move on to the
lighten the mood for.
Yeah, it's kind of chilled out.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to comment corner first, or should we go to the Q&A?
I think we want to do comment corner. We could do.
Okay, let's go. Let's hop on a trolley bus and ride it all the way down to comment corner. In the future, there will be a musical stinger that plays here, probably. But we're not there yet.
Comment corner, music stinger, blah 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 blah. That's. Do
you have any fun comments for us?
I have some fun comments actually. I don't get a lot of comments these days because I haven't uploaded to my channel in like 4 months. But I do have a couple of my like all-time favorite comments I want to share with you.
Okay.
So this is a comment. This is like possibly my favorite comment I've ever gotten. It's like old. It's like almost 3 years old. The first video that I ever had that like got like any kind of amount of significant attention was one of the
High Top.
No, it was before that actually.
Before the High Top era.
Yeah, it was my one villainous scenes video.
Yeah.
I did it about Knives Out. For those of you who don't know, Nando V Movies, another YouTuber, ran like a competition thing where you just he made like a playlist and gave everyone a prompt. And he's been doing that for a couple years.
Yeah, it's just like an open collaborative playlist. That's how I got my start as well. It was in that same one.
It was you made like a Ultron one, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I made mine about Knives Out. the villain of Knives Out is a spoiler, so I won't say who it is, but the comment doesn't have anything to do with that. So in the video, I say something along the lines of like, I say that a certain character has a high amount of villainosity, and then I do like a little joke that's like, villainosity, is that a word? Like, you know, the thing where people just say random things and they're like, is that really a word? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, moving on. It's like a very blink and you'll miss it joke. And so then I got this comment from Rich McGee 434. And so it was just first of all, it's just this timestamp that's like the me saying that. And then he leaves this like very short but very memorable comment that's like, no, it's bloody well not a word, not even for the sake of a bad joke. Villainy, it's just villainy. Stop watering the bloom of stupidity.
Oh my, he thought he was cooking that. He was like, oh yeah, man. Watering the bloom of stupid. Jesus Christ. All right.
It's so funny to me because like, why are you so mad about that?
Yeah, like I'm constantly kind of impressed by the willpower some people have to like hear like a split-second thing in a video, pause the video, scrub back to the point, go down to the comments, timestamp it out, and then do some kind of snarky kind of, you know, well, actually got you kind of thing.
Yeah.
About something that's just like that, you know, that's not the point. That's just kind of like, you know, that's window dressing for a point, right? And it's like, I get it if you have a strong objection to a point being made, but like if you don't like the way the point's being made, like, okay, I'm impressed you've stopped the video and done all that though. Like,
Jesus,
it'd be nice to have that much free time.
It's also just like the fact that the joke is that it's not a word, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I know that was the point.
Well, this guy's making sure you know.
Right? Yeah, he's doing a public service.
Stupid TSD, watering the bloom. Jesus.
This was back when I was called TSD Tom too, so it was before my rebrand. There are a lot of
Is that why you rebranded? Shame.
Yeah, it was because of this. But there are, speaking of that high top video, there are a lot of comments on the video. I don't have any comments from it today, but there are a lot of fun comments on that one. But mostly they're just people telling me to kill myself because I didn't like Raimi Spider-Man as much as they did. You know,
them's the breaks. You know, you are a person who has said something on the internet. You have been told to kill yourself. I'm sorry, that is the way it goes.
It's pretty much like a rite of passage at this point. If you have any kind of opinion, it doesn't. Have you really had an opinion on the internet if someone hasn't told you to kill yourself for it?
I don't think so. I think, you know, if you've not been harassed, you know, if you've not had any potential or suicidal, you know, ideas in your head triggered by some fucking wanker out there, I don't think you've been thinking hard enough, you know?
God. To be clear, this is a joke. Don't actually, it's not actually good to have suicidal ideations. Jesus.
TSD, I'm going to say it. If we don't have people telling us to kill ourselves in the comment of this podcast, I will consider it a failure.
God.
I see you out there typing it out. Thank you. Keep going.
We will. I probably will delete those comments. So if you want your comments to stick around, don't actually do that. But that's because like I don't care about free speech, you know.
Yeah, that's because you're a little snowflake.
Yeah, I'm actually
these days you can't even.
Can't even. I'm very. It's like this is like a conversation. Like my favorite genre of like internet interaction now is whenever like I see something on Twitter, and it's like just the most blatant like alt-right conspiracy theorist shit ever, and then you just see like a little reply from that says a little thing that says like Elon Musk replied, "Interesting. We'll look into this."
He's gonna check it out. Make no mistake.
I did have one other.
Did you see the Elon Musk thing where he's like tweeting, "Oh, I'm gonna get the engagement farmers," and then in the bottom of the replying,
and then immediately he falls for an engagement farming thing.
He's such a silly guy. Now let's move on. Yeah.
I used to think he was so cool when I was like 12.
Yeah. Well, that was his brand. Cool to 12-year-olds.
Yeah. Because like I watched like a video that was talking about how he launched like spaceships from his private island. I was like, man, that's like so cool. That's like Iron Man. It's like Iron Man.
Yeah.
Iron Man's so cool. He's in Iron Man. That means he must be Iron Man.
The scene of the MCU that has aged the worst.
And it's a hard competition. There's a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
Did you know that he apparently requested that cameo because they filmed part of it. They filmed part of the movie in his in like a SpaceX airplane hangar, and so he's just like,
I guess that's the Justin Hammer, where he's meeting with a Mickey Rourke guy.
Yeah.
That is the least surprising piece of trivia I have ever learned.
It sounds exactly like him, yeah.
They're making an Iron Man movie. Iron Man's cool. I should be an Iron Man.
Yeah, and
that's my Elon voice.
And then for 10 years afterwards, I'm gonna get everyone to I'm gonna pay like journalists to call me the real life Iron Man.
What a goober.
Really is. It's, so many like out of touch billionaires, you feel like they're just like kind of putting on an act just so they can keep power. Him, I genuinely believe he's just like an idiot.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have one other comment. So this is from a more recent video. I think I showed this to you a little while ago when I first got it, but I made a Star Wars video about like all the shows and stuff, like all the Disney Plus shows, like The Mandalorian and Andor and my favorite show of all time, Book of Boba Fett.
Oh yeah, I like the part where the guy spins.
Yeah, that part's really cool. Yeah. I think it's really funny that like when people like latch on to very specific moments in shows that like that's really not the issue.
Yeah.
Like I have no issue with the spinning
thing.
No,
I think it's kind of fun. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
Like obviously, tactically speaking, it is a blunder. You shouldn't spin around in a fight. But hey, the guy was feeling
Star Wars.
Do a little spin. Why not?
People do like the prequel trilogy, which according to some people is like the best trilogy of all time, has like Yoda like flipping around.
Those are tactical flips.
Right.
It's actually if you can find like in the Jedi library, there's this ancient holocron, which details the prehistoric Jedi and their flipping moves, which defeated an entire legion of Sith, and that's actually what Yoda's doing there. So don't you look like a fool now?
I should have known. I really should have known. Anyway, the comment that I got is from the Burbo.
The Burbo.
Yeah, the Burbo, not just any old Burbo.
Yeah, I wish I was secure in my self-identity enough to have like a definitive article before my name. I wish I was the pillar of garbage.
You could be the pillar of garbage. So anyway, the Burbo says, I haven't watched any of these shows. How am I supposed to know what you're talking about?
Wow.
That's
one for the ages, isn't it?
It really is. It just like encapsulates so much about YouTube commenters.
But hey, on the flip side, bringing it back, now you know that video is fair use because it isn't a replacement for the shows. It isn't.
Yeah, someone wasn't able to watch and like get the full experience, which is amazing to me that I've seen like. That's such a genuine phenomenon that I've realized. Like, I thought people were joking when they said that, like, they would watch YouTube videos instead of watching the movies. But, like, no, people just do that.
Yeah. I mean, I get it sometimes because, like, obviously I do videos, too, which are, aren't even reviews of stuff. It's just, like, an essay about a part of something or, like, thoughts prompted by something. And, like, I'll get guys who are like, what are you talking about? I want to recap. Why didn't you tell me what you thought? Why didn't you tell me what happened? And it's like, watch the thing. You can go and watch the thing.
This is a companion piece to the thing that you're watching. It's not a replacement for it. And honestly, I think, like most things on YouTube, and specifically film YouTube, a lot of that can be traced back to CinemaSins.
Yeah. That bloke deciding to turn that microphone on that one day is our little corner of YouTube's equivalent of Eve picking up the apple and taking a big old bite, I would say.
It's a real watershed moment.
CinemaSins and its consequences, yeah.
It's like CinemaSins and like the Nostalgia Critic.
Oh yeah.
It's just like those two together like can permanently alter how film YouTube has worked.
There's another funny thing that commenters do sometimes. Obviously, not all commenters. If you're listening to this, I'm not talking about you. You're great. Keep doing what you're doing. You're killing it. But like some commenters, like they will have a problem in that maybe they don't have some of the information. Maybe they haven't watched the thing. Maybe they have a disagreement. about, this kind of thing you're talking about or whatever, and they will put it on you. It will be like, okay, I can't get 100% out of this video, and it's your fault. Fix it for me, please.
Right. I think you were talking about this a little bit when you made that video about the AI recaps things.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how like there's this mindset of like the content must be catered to me specifically, kind of a thing, and if it isn't, then it's like worthless.
Yeah, and I think it partially comes out of the fact that, take a step back. It is kind of miraculous that for like 15 years, almost 20 years, there's been this archive of video files on the internet that everyone can access for free, and there's more of them out there than you could get through in like 1,000 lifetimes. And some of them are the most fucking profound shit you've ever heard in your life. And all of that is just at everyone's fingertips, right? And like, that's a good thing. But also, in terms of how it's led some people to kind of understand the relationship of, video content, I don't want to call it content, video stuff like that, video art like that, and the way it exists in relation to the people who produce it and the people who consume it, I don't know that it's always a good thing.
Yeah. Like, so to bring it back to what was arguably the main subject of the trailer, Invincible, the way that people talk about Invincible online is so like unnerving to me, just because like people talk about so like for those of you who don't know, Invincible is based off of an existing comic. First of all, that's like the comic is done. It's it's there. If you want to read it all, you can. But it's a show that's coming out at like there was about a 3-year gap, or no, a 2-year gap between the first half between the first season and the second season. And then there was like a lot of jokes leading up to the second season coming out about how like it's been a while since it came out. Because 2 years is a while to wait. But then the break happened, where there was a mid-season break, and people just lost their shit about the fact that they had to wait a little bit longer for the episode. Which, like, I get not wanting to wait not wanting to wait as long. I didn't want to wait that long. We waited 4 months or whatever.
I think there is some stuff to do with this break and like the way it intersects with how we watch TV. I think we can save that for a future one, because I've got some stuff I could bring into that.
Yeah,
but we're kind of already getting deep into it, but.
We can
this isn't to take away from your point. This is a little hook for the viewer. Hey, come back. We'll get more into this in the future.
Yeah, we could definitely delve into that more in the future. But I guess my thing is just seeing how people reacted to it. Like, I saw people saying that, like, unironically, they wanted Amazon to like abuse their animators to make it so that the episodes would come out sooner. And then people started talking about it again. Like, now that the season's over, they started talking about getting season 3 as soon as possible, and they want it now because they. And then
Well, have you considered me now? I want now. Give me now, please.
I haven't considered that. Give me eat orange. Give me eat orange. Give me you. But like this part of
that chimp was a real one.
Yeah. But part of that I think is this might be a bit controversial. I fucking despise leak culture. Like I hate leak culture so much. Like
the only thing I hate more than leak culture is the way that now if I'm on fucking Reddit or whatever and I see like, brackets leak person spotted on the set of whatever show it is, I have to click it. I don't want to have to click it, but I do. I have to click it every time. I don't want to. I want to go in blind, like a little baby swaddled up in all that clothing.
Because like if you don't click it, you're gonna like be seeing it all over your social media timeline for the next 2 months.
And especially us as creators, like it's kind of, we have to kind of be a little bit up to date on what's going on, because hey, maybe you make a video talking about something and you've not looked at the leaks, and there's the actually guy in the comments telling you that your entire video is worthless because you say something at 7:42 that is actually contradicted maybe by a leak potentially if they didn't reshoot it, and that means you're a garbage piece of trash. Yeah,
but it's just like every time I see like someone who, because the reason I bring this up is because Invincible season 3 got leaked because someone hacked into the animators' assets and they leaked a bunch of like.
Wait, did it?
Yeah, a bunch of season 3.
This is news to me.
A bunch of season 3.
I've not been doing my job.
But so I've read the comics, so it wasn't a spoiler to me, but like they leaked a bunch of character designs and stuff like that, and some plotline stuff, and people were just like, "Oh, this is so cool! Why did they hide this from us? The comic is out. You can read the comic.
They are not hiding anything from you.
This is, but like even then, the fact that they're not even hiding it, the fact that people feel the need to like hack into, future seasons to just. You can learn what happened by reading the comic,
and like apply that mindset to something else. Like, say you, the viewer, you're getting changed in your bedroom. Then I smash through the wall with a sledgehammer, take a big look at your naked form. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Why were you hiding it from me?
Right.
That's ludicrous. That's stupid. Shut up, you. That's crazy.
It's kind of like a metaphor almost of like. If that scenario was going to happen, and then like later you were going to see them at like a nudist gallery, and they were going to like be on display, kind of
the annual Pillar of Garbage nudist retreat.
Right, but it's just like because there's a time and a place, and
the place is always the Pillar of Garbage nudist retreat,
right? Which I haven't got my tickets yet too, so I'll talk to you about that later.
They'll be in the mail.
Yeah, but the thing that bothers me, besides like just the invasion of privacy, because like even if it's like invading the privacy of a corporation, it's still
still invading the privacy of the team of artists who are trying to tell you a story,
right?
I get, no matter how much you might try and stop them from doing
that. Right, but the thing that gets me is that like I just don't even really like watching trailers after a certain while, because I like to go into a show or movie just like not knowing what's going to happen, like it feels like people just want to find out everything that happens in a movie before it actually happens. Like they like will Google like they'll try to like find out what actors are in it and what storylines are going into it, what big name is going to be there, is this cameo going to be in there, and I don't know, I just like surprises.
I mean, I think a lot of people are more kind of emotionally invested in like keeping up with the discussions rather than like the stuff itself.
Yeah,
it's why people watch.
I think that's a separate thing. It's like 'cause they want to like know the lore, rather than like, which okay. There's nothing wrong with being more interested in the lore of something than like being interested in the story. But I feel like it's kind of a scenario where you're kind of ruining it for everyone else. Yeah, kind of a thing. If you start talking about it this publicly and making this much of a deal about it.
Yeah. And also, hey, here's a fun fact for everyone listening at home. Every video creator who's talked about pop culture who you've watched or subscribed to, they have had something spoiled in the comments. Stop doing that, please.
Yeah. And also here's like the thing is like, if you ever think people aren't reading the comments, if creators aren't reading the comments, they are.
They are, yeah.
Like, especially if you're like on the smaller end, like I am. I have read every single comment I've ever received. Some of them have been really fucking hurtful.
Oh yeah.
But
I mean,
I've
even me, like
all.
I'd say I've read at least sort of 95-97% of every comment I've ever got.
Yeah, like we see that,
Yeah. Tone it down a bit, maybe.
Which is kind of what this comment corner section is about, really.
Yeah.
But
shall I throw another one in the mix?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Or you want to wrap your
I'll just like do a little bit of like I guess TLDR or TLDL, I guess. Too long didn't listen.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm acronym king. But just maybe tone down on the leak stuff, like I thought it was really funny when Ryan Reynolds decided to try and flood like the Deadpool 3 hashtag with fake leaks so that people would stop leaking the actual movie. But it's just
let me for real.
But it's just like I feel like there's Discord servers and stuff that you could like share leaks with each other instead of just like making
go to like an opt-in leak kind of environment. Those probably exist. Make them if they don't.
Make that instead, or make like a Twitter space or whatever those are. Is that what a Twitter space is? I think.
Do they even still exist? I don't know.
I don't know.
No, you got Twitter communities, haven't you?
Right, or
make a little Twitter community.
X community. Yeah.
Sure. Less said about that name change. I'm all right.
Yeah, something that no one has ever commented on.
Yeah, controversial opinion from me there. Not good change. Here's a comment for you. Okay, this was on the Smiling Friends video.
Oh boy.
You might have I think you've already seen this as well, in fact. But Crispin's Cree 242 says, "Hey, just letting you know, I'm in a mood, so I'm leaving a dislike because of the content warning in the beginning. Nothing against you, I just hate that, and I don't know how else to express this. And then he replies to that, I now feel bad for this and changed the dislike, but I'm still mad. And so there's a few layers of this, which I find intriguing. Number one is, like, okay, I'm sorry that the content warning offended you. Next time, maybe I'll do a content warning. Is that all right, you little snowflake?
Yeah, it's amazing how people are like so upset that there's a warning for what is going to happen. Because like honestly, one of the few criticisms I have of Smiling Friends, I love Smiling Friends, absolutely love it to death. First episode,
there's a lot.
Don't love the first episode.
Yeah,
like it has a lot. Like
I think it's super interesting, but it's not my favorite episode because it could. It's not its responsibility to be delicate, of course, but like us viewers who feel, maybe we'd like to live in a world where things have the responsibility to be a bit more delicate, or at least to inform the viewer or let them know that, before they go into something, that maybe something like that's going to be in it.
Like I feel like there could be a content warning about like just how much of a suicide joke there is in there. It's like I don't love suicide jokes in general, but like I understand like the point of the episode's making, where it's like the joke isn't like haha suicide. It's like this. It's barely a joke, really. It's
treating suicide seriously, but like it's kind of keeping that lighthearted. I suppose lighthearted probably isn't the right term, but like it's alleviating the downerness of that by having like a surreal kind of over the top guy pointing gun at his head the whole time visual gag. And I'm using visual gag there like as a technical term, like not saying that I think that's a funny
like there's a lot of jokes around the intent. But anyway, the point is with that is I do feel like the first episode could handle that better, but at the same time, the content, people getting upset about content warnings is so funny to me, because it's like you're upset that someone else is more comfortable,
Yeah. But here's the thing, because like layer one of this is, of course, the classic thing of someone gets upset at content warnings, which is, laughable for the thousands of reasons that thousands of people have laughed at that thing for in the past, right?
Yeah.
But point two, Crispin's Cree 242, he opens this comment by saying, hey, just letting you know, I'm in a mood, so I'm leaving a dislike because of the content warning. He's not giving me a content warning that he's upset about the content warning, but he's kind of easing me into it, right? He's not just coming out and saying it. He's kind of extending a little olive branch, saying, hey, just this is where I'm at, didn't love it, sorry about that, which is like, come on, what? Why are you being so delicate about? You're upset that I'm being delicate about something, and you feel the need to be really delicate to me about it. That's probably because this guy's watched my videos in the past, and maybe he likes some of them. So he feels, he knows that I'm a person, and that I might be offended by this. So he feels the need to kind of hedge it a bit and kind of try and soften the blow. Which, for anyone listening that isn't, hasn't got the memo of the content warnings, that's what they are. We're just trying to treat people who maybe have more adverse reactions to certain topics humanely, because everyone has stuff that makes them feel not great. I've got plenty of stuff that if it just pops out of me, I have a little panic attack. It's just kind of nice to give people the option to know that going in. Like this guy's kind of doing to me with a comment,
It's like the thing also is that like the content warning is that like a lot of people, the content warning doesn't mean people can't watch it either. It's like it's a lot of it's a warning.
Informed. Yeah.
It's such an interesting comment, because I also like that it's got like this tinge of like parasociality to it.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a text you'd send to like a friend, a little bit. Which viewers, we are your friends. Yeah, we know you.
Yeah, we are best mates. we were there at your last birthday party. We were at the table on the left, so you might not have seen us, but we were there.
Give us money.
Don't unsubscribe, please. Not now. Oh wait, no, this is going out when they have. Yeah, you can unsubscribe. It's fine. I'm getting the play button anyway. No, actually, don't unsubscribe.
But yeah, that's definitely an interesting way to talk about it.
It's a fun little comment, I think.
Yeah.
So shall we talk about what we're doing? and then we'll get to the Q&A section. What are you up to? You've just finished your last episode of your series, The Auteur, right? For Productions.
Yeah. Last night. So for those of you who don't know, I have a show, or I had a show until yesterday. Not that I got canceled or anything. It finished. Got canceled. I was too real.
Got canceled for not putting a content. So you couldn't do that in Biden's America. Something.
Yeah. But it was like a 4-episode mini-series that I've been working on with some friends and some Cable 8 people at Cable 8, which is the name of the college TV station that I was at, and it was a little bit of a passion project for me because I took off from YouTube for a bit to work on it. So that's if you know me. And you've been wondering where I've been for the last 4 months, and you haven't followed me on any of my socials or anything, which you should do. That's what I've been doing. But it feels weird to be over with it, because I was just something that was always worrying about and thinking about, and having to do something next for it at the same time. But now it's just done. It's over, and I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy with how it turned out. So that's good. But it feels a bit weird to not be doing that anymore. I will say it's given me a lot of perspective, because beforehand I never really made a show or made a story that was perceived by people and was working with other people. And obviously it's not on the same level as a full-on professional show where I'm working for a network or something, but I got a lot more of a perspective into what it's like to make a show. And so there are a lot of things that I just don't really worry about anymore, that they used to drive me nuts about TV shows. Once you've spent 5 hours shooting the same scene, and you getting different angles and stuff, you start to stop worrying about continuity errors as much, because you think about okay, we could reshoot that entire continuity, that entire shot with the cup in the right place. But
is that really the most valuable thing? Yeah.
Right. But then we lose out on the performance that was the best performance out of the 5 or so takes we got.
See, that's something I didn't even think of until we're all learning something here together. This is a little educational voyage.
Yeah,
that's what the G stands for. Knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge. Knowledge and the auteur as well. Yeah. And the actors were absolutely lovely. I could not have asked for a better crew to work with either. They were all super into it, and they loved the script and everything.
Yeah, I like the guy who's I think my two favorite of your act. Well, Josh, I can't say Josh because he's kind of got the most to do. So I think Josh is the guy who plays Josh.
Josh is the main character of the show.
The guy who plays him does a great job. But in terms of highlighting some of the kind of smaller pieces, I think the guy who plays Mike and the guy who plays I've forgotten his name, but the guy who's playing Tracer.
Yeah, Rick. His real name's Ulysses.
That is amazing. I wish my real name was Ulysses. but yeah, those two are. I was super impressed by what I saw from that.
Wow, you're not naming any women. You're not naming any of the women characters. Well, okay. But yeah,
you can cancel me now.
those two are really good. They really understood the assignment. Not that anyone didn't. Everyone was really on board with it. I also really loved Riddy's performance. Riddy plays the character Charlie.
Yeah.
She really shaped the character in a way I didn't really expect. 'Cause here's a little bit of an inside tip for you. When I originally wrote the character of Charlie, she was a lot more of a cynicist. She was a lot more. I was kind of envisioning Daria. You know Daria?
Who is Daria?
She's like a character from a show called Daria. Okay. Surprise, surprise. But she's just kind of like a one note, cynical kind of character. And originally Charlie was kind of like that. But Riddy is just this absolute beam of sunshine, and she brought a really nice layer to the character that I thought. So I ended up kind of rewriting her a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle I struggle to think about, the Charlie character without that kind of, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. You get the impression of her. So if that wasn't there, that's a different character. So this is just going to show there's so much that me, the guy watching the series, doesn't get compared to the people who make it. And now that you've told me that, I appreciate that performance a whole lot more.
Yeah, and it's like something so part of the thesis of the show is that it's called the auteur a bit ironically, because I kind of hate auteur theory, because it's just the idea that like that there's just one guy who's in charge of making a movie. Genius. Like your Stanley Kubrick, your Quentin Tarantino, your Spielbergs. Like, not to say those like guys aren't like, creative and talented people who do great work, but like their movies are not just them, Yeah,
it's like the great man theory of filmmaking.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't think the auteur would have happened if I wasn't there, kind of a thing. Like, because I wrote it and I directed it, but it wouldn't be what it is without the people who worked on it. It wouldn't be anywhere near as good as it was without like other people who helped me along the way. If it was, it wouldn't actually be anything at all, really, because I can't just do a show all by myself.
So the show itself is the proof of the show's concept. Very, very, very nifty.
Yeah, but for those of you who don't know, the show is about an indie filmmaker who is convinced he's the next Quentin Tarantino. And
spoiler alert: he isn't.
He is not, but he's convinced he is. And so the kind of I had worked on a couple of shows at that point when I started writing it, so I kind of thought about like writing something where a character is convinced that that's how filmmaking works, like collides with reality. So
it's a fun time. You can check it out right now on youtube.com.
Yeah, but it's not on my channel. It's on Cable 8's channel.
You're jumping back into the video essay biz afterwards, though. Any ideas on what's coming up next? I know you've got that X-Men rewatch kind of... Well, not rewatch. You got an X-Men project on the horizon.
Yeah, so fun fact about me, I've not seen a lot of things. There are a lot of movies that are like cultural touchstones that I just never saw. And I think, thinking back on it, I think it's because I didn't grow up with cable like a lot of people did.
Yeah.
And so I grew up with like Netflix sometimes. Like, I've never seen a single episode of SpongeBob. That's the kind of person I am. Not because my parents didn't want me to, but just because I wasn't ever able to get around to it.
Why are we even talking?
But side of that is that I've not until I started this project, I hadn't seen any of the X-Men movies. I had seen some of them part of the way through. I'd seen about 40 minutes of Days of Future Past beforehand, but I couldn't really remember it, so it doesn't really count.
Incidentally, seeing 40 minutes of Days of Future Past might be the worst possible introduction to the X-Men franchise.
Yeah, I was just like, who's this guy?
Yeah, what is going on?
But yeah, so I started, because Deadpool 3 is coming out soon, or Deadpool and Wolverine, I guess, is coming out in July. I figured I would watch all of the movies for the first time, and I would just like give my thoughts on them, because that's what people like, right? They like watching people's thoughts on people who like they've that from new perspectives.
Well, as long as you can kind of sum up what each movie is and what's happening all the way through.
Right. Yeah, I need to give,
because otherwise you might catch some viewers out.
Right, because people who haven't seen the videos but want to see, people who haven't seen the movies but want to see the video. I do have to cater to them,
and they have to get the full experience from that. If they don't, it's your fault.
So currently I'm it's what we in the biz like to call callback. Yeah. A little bit ago, so I've been taking a little bit of a break because it's final season over here, but currently the most recent one I watched, because I've been going in like release order, has been the first Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
Which was really surprising to me, because I was kind of half really excited, half dreading it. So I was worried it would be like really annoying. But it wasn't. And the other thing that really surprised me is that it's like a genuinely like really touching love story. Yeah. Which you don't expect from a fucking Deadpool movie.
Funny thing with that Deadpool movie, I think like it aged about 20 years in the 5 years after it came out. But then since that point, like you look at it and it's like, okay, yeah, this is the most 2016 shit imaginable. But like I think we're far enough past it now that we can actually look back at it and appreciate the core of it, as well as sort of cringe out at the edgelord stuff.
Yeah, there's some edgy stuff in there. But I think that part of it, the reason that worked for me is because I never really felt like the movie thought it was super badass. It kind of felt like just Deadpool thought it was super badass, and he's kind of a man-child.
A little bit.
But my favorite so far has actually been Days of Future Past, which
I like
maybe
top 5.
Maybe it's the bias of me having it being the first one I saw.
No, I think a lot of people have that as their top pick. I don't know. I have not touched base with the X-Men film franchise fan standing in a while, but
yeah,
I think that is one of the favorites. Mine's first class, but hey, I'll
that was really good too. I liked that one. Kind of a hot take. I did not care for the original trilogy all that much. Like obviously the third one everyone hates. Everyone hates the third one, and for good reason.
I've kind of gone back around on. I mean, I never disliked them, but I've kind of gone back around on them and the Fantastic Four movies recently, where at the time, or like even 10, 15 years ago, you watched them and you saw what wasn't there.
Yeah.
But now that we've had what wasn't there with the MCU and the later Fox X-Men films and the DCU and what have you, I think we're now in a position to see what is there. And it's just speaking personally, I think what is there is pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think they're bad movies. That's, to be clear, that's not my position. I'm not gonna sit here and say like, well, except for The Last Stand, that is a bad movie. But I'm not gonna sit here and say that like X-Men and X2 are bad movies. But they do feel like a bit ashamed to be what they are, kinda. Yeah. They kind of feel like they're like embarrassed to be like comic book movies. Like there's the really infamous line from the first one where he's like, well, what would you prefer? We wear yellow spandex?
Yellow spandex, yeah.
Yeah. But and that kind of felt like an encapsulation of the philosophy of the movie to me. But at the same time, there's a lot of just straight up comic booky shit that it does embrace that the like MCU stuff doesn't. So
yeah,
it's kind of a mixed
that's
bag.
the side of things that gets forgotten a little bit. But yeah, so you've got that. Is that going to be your first project coming forward, or you got anything in the pipe before then?
That's the plan. I might release some stuff before that, but that's currently my big plan. I'm also thinking about writing a video about this game called Slay the Princess, which is a video game that like completely blindsided me, and I was just like, I started playing it because it went on sale, and I was just like, it had a voice actor that I like in it, Jonathan Sims. You ever listen to the Magnus Archives?
I have not, but I know of it.
Yeah, so he's the main guy from that, but he's in it, and it's really good. I can't really say much about it because otherwise it's very, very spoiler heavy to explain why it's so good. But like if you're interested in the title, just like check out the trailer or something. So I might do something about that, and those are kind of my two projects that would be coming first. But I've got a couple of other ideas after that, but I'll keep those kind of under wraps for a little bit.
Well, I look forward to seeing them.
Do you have any videos on the horizon?
I got a couple. The big one I'm working on at the moment, I've done most of the research for, but writing it's going to be hard. In case you don't know, every 2 months, well, it's supposed to be every 2 months, my Patreon supporters get to pick and then vote on a video idea. And the one that was picked and voted on in March, I think it was March, was Over the Hedge, a video about Over the Hedge, like a serious analysis of Over the Hedge. And I'm glad because I wanted that one to win because I watched Over the Hedge when I was little and I thought it was fucking sick. And I rewatched it and I still think it's fucking sick. But it's going to be a tricky one. I don't know how long it's going to be, but it's going to be a complex thing. Because the thing is, you think Over the Hedge, you think, hey, it's the movie with the funny animals. But like, when I rewatched it, basically there's Over the Hedge in the middle, and then my notes goes over to one side thinking about there's going to be some discussion of John Milton. There's going to be Paradise Lost. There's going to be talking about the Garden of Eden and colonialism in the Americas. And then we're going to be talking about urbanism. Garbage. Yeah. It's going to be a complex video. I'm kind of intimidated by it. I've kind of got the thing where starting is proving tricky. But on the other side of things, I've also got so a few weeks ago I made a video called Woke X-Men and the Web of Grifter Media.
Oh yeah, yeah. That one made a little bit of waves on Twitter.com.
Dan Slott saw it. Well, I mean that was on Threads, but yeah.
Oh yeah. It's basically cool, Twitter.
Got a big box of his Spider-Man comics in my childhood bedroom, so when I saw that I was kind of squeeing with excitement. Is that a word?
It's like your Smosh moment again.
It is my Smosh moment. Yeah, it's my current day Smosh moment. But anyway, I have a kind of short elaboration on that because I made that video and like the idea there was you can just pick any singular instance of anti-woke outrage and you can from that you can look at the stuff that's being shared around and you can dig in, you can work your way out from any particular instance. And the idea there was in that video we go woke X-Men and we see, okay, what's being shared around, who's sharing it, let's start linking people up. And I think I did that decently, but video was getting shared around a bit. I saw someone shared it on maybe YouTube Drama or Saltier Than Crate, one of the subreddits, and there were a couple of comments that were kind of like, yeah, okay, we know all this already. What about this stuff? What about these guys? And like the reason I didn't go kind of more in depth on the kind of the web was because I feel like I kind of made my point about the interconnectivity of it to the extent that I traced it, because I wasn't trying to. The point there wasn't this is the totality of the web of connections that these kind of right-wing guys have on YouTube. It was there are
right-wing guys and Mahler, who's there for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why he's there. I think he's kind of a centrist, but why is he there? Why are we talking about Mahler? That's crazy.
I don't know. It's just a thought I had randomly.
But yeah, so I'm working on a short. Well, I say short. It'll probably end up longer than short. I'm working on a follow-up video that's basically going to be like, okay, yeah, this wasn't everyone. Let's see who else is there. Again, the idea isn't to be like a total kind of elaboration of who's who knows each other and how, but basically just to kind of lay out a bit more of a comprehensive picture of the connections some of these YouTubers have to
the kind companion piece.
Yeah, like just some more of the unseemly figures. Alex Jones is all meshed up in there. That's a little spoiler for you. There's a lot to talk about, and we'll talk about some of it in that video, which will probably come out in May. And then I'm also thinking maybe I'll do like a 100k Q&A thing on my channel. Maybe I'll like with separate questions to the questions from this, and then maybe I'll kind of riz this podcast up in that video. I don't know. But yeah, maybe I'll do that sooner. Then maybe I'll do the other two. I'm kind of the Fallout video took a lot out of me, so I'm kind of I need a lot of time.
That video was so good. I'm so sad it's not doing well. It was such a good video.
There's two types of responses to that video in the comments. There's responses which are like, hey, this was really cool, nice video, this was really good, and then there's like, well, actually, Todd Howard said in an interview that the lore point you reference at this point isn't technically the truth.
It's that same same summary mindset, it's people who like really care about the lore, and like I the lore is really cool. I like the lore of Fallout from
but
what
the lore
read
wasn't
up on it.
quite.
But it's not the point.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we got going on. Shall we answer a question or two?
Sure. All right. So, welcome to the Q&A section of the podcast. Of the podcast. These questions come from the hashtag PogQ&A channel in the Pillar Garbage Discord. There should be a link in the description for that. So if you want to join, it's very cool. There's a very cool environment. But the first question we've got is from our good friend Ein, aka Jamie. Pymtron video when?
Okay, so the context here is that one of the first people to even join the Discord, and definitely I think my first Patreon supporter, like back in 2022 when I launched it, was a fella called Ein. Ein the Buff Boy, Jamie, Jamer, goes by many names.
Yeah, and he's still around.
He's still around.
He's probably in the comments of this video, honestly.
I think so. He probably got the notification that it went up, went to the comments and typed Pymtron video when. That's what I'm predicting. But basically, for those of you who don't know,
if that's
Pymtron,
true, I'm gonna pin the comment and
and it will be true. So that comment will be pinned. But so the Marvel character Hank Pym, he was Ant-Man, and then he was Giant Man, then he was Yellow Jacket, and then a bunch of other stuff happened, and then at one point he created this nasty robot fella called Ultron, and then at one point, because comics are comics, Hank Pym and Ultron got fused together. That's probably not technically right, but they turned into a guy.
That's basically what happened.
Yeah.
It's like functionally what happened, I think.
Yeah. Well, there's a guy who's basically those two, and he's called Pymtron. And I think there were some pretty interesting stories with Pymtron, like the idea of a fusion of like a kind of very Oedipal robot with its maker, and you know,
there's actually a joke about Pymtron in the auteur. I make a joke.
The reach of Pymtron is unprecedented. You know, everyone's talking about Pymtron because Ein is
this character that's
Pymtron.
had like 2 appearances.
Yeah. And many Pillar of Garbage videos, all of the live premieres we've done, I think. I don't know why I said we. There's no Pillar of Garbage team. It's me. It's just me. All the live premieres I've done, there is always the question, Pymtron video when? And the answer to that is, so basically, there is stuff to talk about with Pymtron. The idea of like, after so long in like the wacky continuity wastelands of like the Marvel universe, a guy makes a robot and then they get fused together. There's interesting stuff to talk about with the story itself and what that kind of tells you about how characters get used after decades. So I would like to one day make a Pymtron video. It might not be 3 hours, like that's the length Ein wants it to be. I don't know if it can be 3 hours. It probably could be, to be honest. I think you could make a 3-hour video
about anything, really.
Yeah. But the thing is, I can't make that video now because it wouldn't do very well. And as we discussed earlier, most of my money comes from AdSense. So the promise I've had with Ein for the longest time, and it remains true, is that when I don't have when I can get by in a month without videos doing well, like if Patreon, YouTube membership, or even just regular sponsorships get to the point where the main thing isn't video performance, then there will be a Pymtron video, and it will be a great video.
And it'll be the best video you ever make, and then afterwards you'll never be able to make something as good as it, so you'll probably just delete your channel at that point.
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. Ein's a really fun guy. He's very energetic, and that's really nice.
Now too.
Yeah, he is. He's
so
in
if
the
you
mod
do
team.
Join the Discord, don't say anything against Pymtron, or you probably won't be there too long.
Yeah, we're very big. We're very big fans of 1984 over there. Big fans of censorship. Anti. Except for the minute of hate, we have the minute of Pymtron.
That's my favorite minute of every day.
We actually have another question from Ein. This one's like a more serious question. Well, as I say more serious, but it just says, why does TSD talk a lot slower and POG a lot faster? I don't think that's true. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just talk how I talk, and I guess you talk how you talk.
Yeah. I'm not sure why I saved that question, actually.
Separate note.
Maybe just to say hi to Ein.
Yeah. Hi, Ein.
Hi, Ein.
Just in case it's relevant to that, which it might be, I don't know if I have ADHD, but I don't know if I don't have ADHD. I went to the doctors once to get tested, and they gave me like this really complex form I had to fill out. And I filled the form out, but I never sent it back because I kept thinking, oh, I can't send this back now, you know?
That does sound
very
like a very ADHD thing, like a medically ADHD thing, not in like the, oh my God, it's so ADHD kind of a way.
Like there was more to it than that, but the crux of the matter was basically, it got to, but you know, at any given point, like I have like 20 things I have to do.
Right.
Or 20 things I should do. Or 20 things I have to do. And I've only got enough kind of mental bandwidth for maybe 5 of them. And sending this doctor's note back, it just wasn't high enough up, because this was when I was finishing my masters. I had more important things to do. And I knew that sending it back would take 3 minutes. But I couldn't do it. And as the days went on, like, it got to the point where the awkwardness, even though, you know, the doctor would have got it and he would not have thought about it a single time, in my mind it was like, well, now it's awkward if I'm sending it this late, you know? It's just going to be weird.
Yeah.
So then it shifted further and further down the rankings, and I never sent that form back. So
that sounds very much like, that sounds a bit like executive dysfunction a little bit. That's like, that's a very ADHD thing.
I also knew someone else at uni who got diagnosed with ADHD as a adult, and they before that point, everyone said how similar we were. So this isn't related to the question, but hey, it's a fun companion piece of trivia. Draw your own conclusions.
And I'm guessing because ADHD means people talk fast. That I think that's what the answer is. That's what the symptom is. I think
that's what ADHD means. Yeah. It's did he do that? That's what it stands for. And doing that being too fast for an hour and a half at this point.
Yeah.
So we have the kind of high quality comedic content you can expect from the Pillar of Garbage podcast.
We're really pushing the boundaries.
The G stands for guffaw.
Someone's gonna make like a list of that or something, just of all the G's. So we have another question from Mechanist Gamma, good friend of both of ours. Mm-hmm. He's another mod actually. What's the video making process like for both of you on the creative side? Do you want to answer this first, or?
Yeah, I can do. I'll just also say Mechanist Gamma has a channel himself. He makes Sonic videos, and I don't know if I feel like has he done other stuff? I don't know. Mainly Sonic stuff.
It's mostly Sonic.
Check him out. But yeah, I mean, on my end, there's not really one answer. But basically, the commonality all my videos have is I will be watching something or reading something or listening to something or thinking about something, and then I'll just have like a little. I'll have that little light bulb moment where it's just like, hey, this is a cool thought about this thing. And then, I'll note down all my cool thoughts about things. And based on what I'm doing at the moment or what's timely to talk about. And more importantly, if I spend a bit of time with this cool idea and it turns out to have enough meat on its bones to be a YouTube video, then I will... I don't know, I'll write a video about it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's probably more to it than that. Oftentimes videos take research. Yeah. The research for this upcoming Over the Hedge video, again, like one thing I did for that I found a A-level history textbook from when I was back at school that I still had in my childhood bedroom, and I was going through the early history of America for that, and then I was following up the sources on that on like JSTOR and like Google Scholar and stuff, finding like accounts of 16th century colonists and all this. That's going to be like probably it's going to be in the description to back up a claim I made in one sentence in this video. So like there's a lot of that goes into some stuff.
Yeah.
And oftentimes you'll do that and then it'll turn out the video won't really work. So it's all for nothing.
Well, I mean, it was kind of the journey you went on, though. You learned it's kind of part of the creative process, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'd love to be able to give a sort of concise blow by blow on the journey of making a video essay. But it pretty much is just have an idea, look into if the idea is feasible, check the facts, follow any rabbit holes you have time to follow, record. I have like a blanket I throw up around my desk. My flat's got 2 rooms. There's a bedroom and the other room, which has the kitchen, the lounge, the dining room, my home office. It's not a very big room. So I throw a blanket up, I get my mic out, record it, edit it down, chuck it in Vegas, bish bash bosh.
Yeah.
Video.
It's a very... I mean, I'm sure Gamma knows this to a bit of an extent, so I'm saying this more for the benefit of people who haven't done it as much, but there's just like... The process of making a video essay is not as like itemized list as you would expect it to be. It's kind of just like you're kind of just feeling the water to like see what works and what doesn't. Because the thing about writing like a 10-page script about something is that you kind of have to care about what you're talking about to do it for fun, or I guess for a job for you. It's more
but there's still still the passion aspect of it. Otherwise, I'd just be stuck in shelves or something.
Right. It's just that it how do I put this? Okay. Well, I'll talk about like ideas that I come up with, because sometimes I try to force a video and I can do that pretty well. Like what I do is with that is usually just like I just like think about a topic and I'm just like, and I give myself a very broad goal with that. And other times ideas just come naturally. Like an example of the former is a couple years ago, I made a video about Tick Tick Boom for the anniversary of it being released, because it had been released for 1 year at the time. It's been released for 2 years now, or no, 3 years. 3 years, yeah. That one was easy because I just gave myself the very broad topic of talk about Tick Tick Boom, and so Tick Tick Boom is a movie that means a lot to me. So I was able to fill that space up.
Yeah, and like the thing is that is a good video. It's not, maybe it's not,
Yeah.
It doesn't take the viewer on like an odyssey of like finding new layers of the film that they'd never dreamt of before, but it is a good video. And like,
thank you.
It just goes to show like, it's more about, it's not so much about forcing it versus not forcing it is, that's obviously a valid sort of thing to think about, but
Yeah.
you can't force something that isn't there to some degree.
Right. Like there's certain levels of and like when you try to do it, you can tell, like you can feel it.
Yeah.
Like unless you just like fully just start which I think is partially why there are a lot of video essays that are just summarizing things. It's because people are trying to force video essays about that, because you don't really if you don't have anything to say about it, you can't really talk about anything besides what happens in it. So
Yeah.
But there's the other elements where like ideas will just jump out at you, kind of like like there's like ideas that are just divine inspiration, I guess you could call it. Like that video I made that was Megamind versus Dr. Horrible. That's an idea I've had in like rattling around in the back of my head for like 2 years before I ever made that video. Just because like they're both movies that when you think about it are kind of similar in ways you don't expect. And also a lot of people haven't heard of Dr. Horrible, and I kind of wanted to talk about Dr. Horrible, but I didn't think it would get a lot of attention if I just talked about Dr. Horrible, so I added, like, I talked about Megamind as well, because people like Megamind, and, I like Megamind too, but it's just, there's a reason that the majority of that video's runtime is devoted to Dr. Horrible over Megamind, because Megamind's more just, like, set dressing for what my point was with the other thing.
But yeah, I think all the best videos come from the experience that you will have had, maybe to a different extent, but like if you've ever written an essay if you've ever written an essay that you had to come up with a topic for uni or school or something, like there is that moment where you're thinking about something and then you think, oh, what about this? And it's, the what about this, you have to kind of, the more you give into it and the more you follow it, the better the video turns out. Like my Fallout video I put out like 2 days ago or something, I really let myself follow the what about this for that.
Yeah.
Like it started out, I was watching Fallout and I was kind of thinking, it would be good if I had an idea for this, because like it's a trending show, and like my recent video isn't earning me any money, so it would be quite good to have a trending video. As it turned out, the video isn't doing great yet.
Hopefully it gets better, but
yeah. That's by the by. I can't do anything about that. But I just kind of started out thinking it would be good if I had an idea about Fallout. And then I'd watched the first few episodes, and I thought it was intriguing the way the Vault stuff ended in episode 1. So I just kind of went back and I thought about that, because I knew that somewhere in my head something about that sequence of the spoilers. Well, I won't say it then. Of what happens to the Vault in episode 1 of Fallout was interesting me.
Yeah, like, and then just ideas that like stick out to you. There's always that.
Yeah, and I didn't even know why it stuck out at that point. I just thought, do I have an idea of Fallout? Do I have an idea about Fallout? It would be good if I did. So do I? And then I thought, well, that bit was cool. And then I just kept thinking about it. And then I thought, the visual parallel between what happens in the Vault and what happens before it, that was what interested me. Why did that interest me? The end of the world can happen in different places. And then everything else came from that. I thought back to the Derrida lecture that I'd read years ago, and then I thought back to some random trivia about the early colonial kind of atrocities and stuff like that. And then it all kind of, I spent I think maybe two and a bit days molding it all together into a script, and then I just went at it.
Yeah, it's like to be clear, like when we talk about things like ideas coming to us, like it's not you don't come up with the thesis for a video essay like right away. Or if you do, it's very, very rare.
You do sometimes, yeah.
You just have kind of a vague thought of like, well, that's kind of interesting, because there's a lot of things that you like understand subconsciously that like are interesting to you, but you don't quite know what is there until you really start writing about it.
Like everyone watching this who's seen a few video essays will know that some video essays, the thesis is more clear than it is in others.
Right.
You know, there's more a focus point than there is in others. But I think the important point here is that how clear the through line is and how sort of elegantly it's done in the final product doesn't necessarily mirror the way you come up with it. Like,
yeah,
sometimes you have to put more into it to get to that point, and it comes out even, you know, more clearly than an idea you had last week or last month, where the central thesis kind of unveiled itself to you all in one. You know, sometimes you can get the thesis idea, and you can make it, and it just won't be as clear as one you had to sort of work your way toward.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we're probably done with that question now.
I think so.
Good question. Fun question.
I think maybe one more, and then we'll finish up.
Okay.
We've got from I never know how to say this. I think it's mix. You say mix for the non-binary version.
Oh, is it Canuck?
Yeah, it's Canuck.
You can just say Canuck.
Okay. Yeah, so this is from Canuck. Canuck just says, question, Greg's? Do you want Greg's?
The answer is yes, Greg's. Basically, for the 90% of you that aren't British, there's this kind of, I guess it's fast food. Yeah, it's like you get them in I guess most towns. Some cities they have a whole bunch of them. Like there's like 20 or something in Newcastle. There's probably tons of them in London. But basically, any decent sized town, maybe some bigger, some smaller towns as well. They'll have a Greg's, and you walk into Greg's, and at the counter, the left hand side of the counter is maybe it varies by location, but well, for instance, the left hand side of the counter is your sweet treats. So you've got donuts, buns, sponges. They do this thing called a yum yum. I don't even know what a yum yum is, but it's nice. It's got like icing and stuff. But the real star of the show is on the right hand side, and then you've got all your bakes and your pepperoni pizza slices and meat. I guess I have to say meat pies, because the Americans who are listening are like, pies, but that's fruit. Fruit is in pies. No, here in England, you put your beef in a pie, put your chicken in a pie, maybe put your lamb in a pie. I don't know. We have a lot of meat pies.
My first exposure to meat pies as a youngin was the place Sweeney Todd. So I didn't understand that like meat pies were just a thing. Before that, I thought he was just like coming up with this random idea of just no. He probably got the idea from Greg's. Yeah, but basically the good thing about Greg's is Greg's do nice food. It's not gourmet, but it's probably not the most healthy, but it's not like disgustingly unhealthy. Well, it probably is. I don't know. But like it's kind of cheap for like compared to I guess like a Mackey's or something. Like you get your bang like McDonald's.
Oh yeah, do you not call it like that over there? Yeah, here we just call it Mackey's.
There's some people who call it Mickey D's, but those people are weird.
Oh, I don't like that.
But it also gets referred to as the Golden Arches a lot for a weird reason, which it seems like oddly religious for a fast food restaurant.
I can see that. But yeah, Greg's is wonderful, because I mean, used to be the sausage rolls were 80p. Now they're like 120 or something. Inflation, cause he lives, whatever. But basically, if you want a little treat, if you're out and about, you want a lunch on the go, if you want it to be some sort of delicious meat pie or meat pie adjacent thing, maybe some sort of pizza slice. These days they even have a bunch of kind of refrigerated things, or I guess they're not refrigerated. They have a bunch of things you take up and they heat at the counter, like maybe wedges or other things. But if you're on the go, you can just go to Greg's, and tell you what, they've even got this loyalty app that you can collect like basically loyalty stamps for, and you get free stuff. And they got the soft drinks, they got coffee, they got fruit juice, they got all that kind of thing. and it's no, I want a Greg's.
Maybe
this is not sponsored by Greg's.
We should get Greg's to sponsor the podcast.
I would love it if Greg's would sponsor this podcast. I would be the happiest man in Britain. I'll tell you what, actually.
Point of national pride.
One of the reasons I've been looking forward to getting to 100K is I think that gives me a bit more clout if I approach people for sponsors. And
yeah, you got the verification check.
I've got this like pie in the sky.
Because that means something on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can't just buy it.
Exactly. No.
I mean, you can, but it's illegal to do that. But
yeah. But my kind of stretch goal for this channel is there's this like Swedish company that they do these kind of like cinnamon rolls. It's like a plastic packet, and you get sort of 12 of them in a packet, and they're not like cinnamon buns. They're soft. They're called, the company's Pargan, and they make these giflars, and they're the most delightful thing. You can have them with like a coffee or a cup of tea, and they're next level for like snacking. Maybe you need a quick boost. Maybe you want a little treat. I love them so much. I always get them when we go to the shops. Used to be they'd only be in like IKEA, because obviously IKEA is Swedish.
Yeah.
But they've been imported to like some of the supermarkets as well. And my dream is to have enough kind of YouTube clout where I can email this company and be like, what's up, Wagwan? I know only like 12% of my viewers are in countries you ship to, but would you ever consider sending me a big fuck off box of your little baked treats in exchange for a YouTube sponsorship? That's when I've made it.
Well, that's a really good goal, I think.
Yeah.
My goal is when I have to start when I get my first sponsorship, controversy, get sponsored by something that turns out to be like a terrible thing. Like I get sponsored by like the next like established titles or BetterHelp or whatever.
They've tried it on with me in the past. I don't know if it was established titles themselves or like one of the clone companies.
Yeah.
But I almost had that moment. But I was thinking, because the thing is with established titles, like I didn't realize this until it all blew up that people thought it was legit. Like obvious,
yeah.
From my perspective, and I think from most British people's perspective, obviously owning a little bit of dirt in Scotland doesn't make you a lord.
Yeah, it very much seemed like, I'm American, but to me it seemed very much like a gimmick gift.
Yeah.
But apparently they were advertising it in a way that people genuinely thought it was like real.
I've seen a lot of people thinking that like it would technically make you a lord.
No.
Yeah. Apparently that was a thing.
But like, to be fair, they're like, that was their intention, right? They
were trying to mislead you, of course.
Yeah. Like they were trying to bank off of people's lack of knowledge about like Scotland.
Yeah, and the claims they were making weren't even really true. Like, I think the point was like, oh yeah, if you buy this, then, you could claim the title of Lord. Like, historically, people have done something similar or something. I think that was their claim. And you look into it, and it's basically like, what it really was, no, if you own land in Scotland, then the title you would be called would be like Laird, which is like the Scots version of Lord. And it's basically like, they were kind of just selling you a word.
Like they're pretty much just selling you like a picture frame that had your name in it.
Crazy stuff.
I think that the thing that bothered me the most about that though was one of their commercials was like someone who had like Scottish heritage and really loved Scotland. Someone like got them an established titles thing to be like a gift for their heritage. Like, now you're a lord and you're connecting with your culture, that's just scummy. Like, don't play on people's emotions like that. But yeah. I think that's probably about it for today.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the most important thing to end on is the fact that if you subscribe to my channel or TSDs, or better yet, if you join either of our Patreons or YouTube membership systems, you de jure become a lord in the British Isles.
That's true.
You will be able to enter Parliament. You'll be able to vote in the House of Lords.
Maybe you can
get a manor house.
You can get that. You can vote out, what's that guy's name? Who's the current prime minister that everyone hates?
Rishi Sunak. That's funny actually, because yes, here's the thing about Rishi Sunak, right? So he came after Liz Truss. We don't talk about Liz Truss. But he really came after Boris Johnson. And like, he was a right twat. He was like a real piece of work. He was an absolute scumbag. And like, Sunak is as well, but like just in such a more boring way, to the point that some news came up yesterday or the day before. Like, he's now doing this thing where he's revamping the benefit system in the UK, where a doctor can no longer sign you off work for being stressed. Like, that's the goal.
Good
which
Lord.
Is pretty horrific. But my first kind of internal response upon seeing that was, oh shit, yeah, this guy, Rishi Sunak. I'd forgotten about the Prime Minister. He's such a non-entity.
He seems like the type of guy who like people completely forget about until he starts like annoying people. And
yeah, like I'd already kind of
taking
started
away people's rights.
Yeah, I kind of already started mentally attributing all the bad shit to the guy who's probably going to replace him, Keir Starmer, who's like barely better. He's like the head of our quote left-wing party, and he's barely better. Yeah. And like, there's a lot to dislike about him. Like they've just gone back on their big climate pledge. They're doing the whole ghoulish evil with they're backing the anti-trans stuff that's going on there. Right. I don't like Keir Starmer. Lots of people don't like Keir Starmer. But he's kind of just like a cardboard cutout of a person himself. But like, Rishi Sunak, by comparison, like, who is he? I've forgotten he existed. And he's in charge of me right now.
I almost kind of envy you guys, because your politicians still suck, but like they seem like they suck.
They really suck.
In like ways where like they're like still normal people at the end of the day, a little bit. Like, as normal as you can be as a politician.
I guess relative to you guys.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing, is that like over here in America, like our politicians are like either that or they're like cartoon supervillains.
Yeah, I mean, Boris Johnson was kind of getting more toward your territory. Like, I think our restrictions during COVID were a bit more harsh than yours, or I guess it depended on state with you guys, but like,
yeah, they're pretty harsh where I was.
Yeah, like, I mean, there were some pretty dark months where like you couldn't see anyone, you couldn't see family, you couldn't see friends really. You couldn't do anything, and then all during this time, big man Boris Johnson is like having massive, lavish parties.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, like with like tons and tons of people, breaking his social bubble, Oh man, I understand that that's not like Trump levels of stuff, but it's still pretty ghoulish.
I think it's bad that we're at the place where like we compare how awful our politicians are. Yeah. But anyway, now that we've gotten like political and woke and whatever.
Oh my god, yeah. Call it. This is the day Pillar of Garbage got woke.
This is the day, yeah. Not before though. This was a good episode, I thought. Good like introduction to what we're doing.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like Pillar said, like subscribe to him, subscribe to this channel first of all. Subscribe to him, subscribe to me, subscribe to our Patreons, whatever. What have you. Share it with people you like. Leave us a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform and just write something.
And then also download the previous YouTube UI system and then leave us a 5-star review on YouTube as well.
Yeah, that too. Just
go back to 2008. Really drop it down.
Give us 5 stars in every way you can.
Go to the nearest public bathroom near you. Get a Sharpie and write on the wall, Pillar of Garbage Podcast, 5 stars. The G stands for great.
Yes. And you should also like download like Letterboxd and like see if you can like upload the episodes of the podcast to that, and then give those 5 stars too.
Also, yes. But yeah, these episodes will be coming now and then. Yeah. Don't know how often.
Our current plan is like about every 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, but that might shift, see. Might be more, might be less, and we will probably soonish have guests. Yeah,
we'll do at least 5 episodes, I think, 5 or 6, and then we'll hopefully do more. But that's like our contract.
We'll take stock, we'll reevaluate. Yeah, that's how long the network has us on for. This is a production of Disney. We are sure.
Yeah, because we actually did get bought out by them since the trailer came out. They heard about it, so now we're not allowed to speak our minds about it. Disney's very cool. Bob Iger.
I love Bob Iger. Yeah, Bob Iger. You're a
Bobby
great guy.
Iger. Love him. Well, thank you all for listening. I hope you all enjoyed. And we'll see you in the next episode of the Pillar of Garbage podcast.
Bye-bye.